Welcome back to the Always Connected series. My name is Joe Higgins, and I'm an author, a medium, channeler, and a researcher of the afterlife. And on tonight's episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about shared crossings. Now, shared crossings are when an individual that's getting ready to pass over, it, the people around them can actually see what's happening when that loved one is getting ready to pass. Let me put it this way. Sometimes loved ones that are getting ready to pass can see deceased loved ones in the room, the hospital room or the bedroom or wherever they are, and they could say, "Oh, my grandmother's come for me," or something like that. And usually a lot of times no one can see it, but they do see the patient reacting to it. Sometimes, if you're sitting with a person getting ready to cross, some people can actually see some of these visitations. Some people can actually see when the soul leaves the body and transitions to the other side. And that's considered shared crossing because you're part of that crossing. It's shared. So in my case, I had a similar incident when my aunt passed, except mine happened in dreams. So what happened was about 3 days before she passed, I had a dream that um, my loved ones on the other side, relatives, were getting ready to have a party. And what they did is they showed me a doorway into a big banquet hall, okay? And I could see tables all lined up. Well, I could see the first table. I felt like there were many tables, and I could see a balloon on two of the tables. And so it was a big party. I knew something was going on. So they had all set up for it. And both two doors were wide open, and you could look in and, like I said, looks like they were prepare for a party. And I felt like some of my deceased loved ones were there in the hall. So that was the first night. The second night, I had another dream, and this time I was back in the same space, and now I could hear music playing, and now I heard people laughing. Now I realized that that hall was now filled with people, and it's like a coming home party. So the balloons are going, I can hear people talking. I feel and sense that some of these loved ones are my loved ones, and that some of the people know my aunt, some of her friends that have passed previously. And they're all mingling and they're talking and everyone's having a good time. And so, it starts to progress. But this time, instead of both doors open, one of the doors was shut. Okay. So I couldn't see the tables now like I had seen the night before. I could just see into a corner of the banquet room was all lit up. And like I said, I could hear the music and the people talking, and I felt like it was filled with a lot of people, a lot of people. And I wasn't surprised because my aunt was a very kind lady, and she lived to 89 years old, so she had many friends and many opportunities to meet different people. So, but I thought it was weird that one door was shut. And there was one person near the door, and I had a feeling that this person was like a worker there, or host or hostess, kind of like checking to make sure everything's set up, the tables are right and all that stuff that you would see like a banquet facility. So then all of a sudden when I'm looking at this lady and then I'm kind of taken to the ballroom again for the festivities, I said, "Oh, this sounds like a nice party." I look over and there's my aunt. My aunt is standing next to that woman, and there's a man standing next to my aunt. I couldn't make it out who it was, but I had a feeling it was my father. So, but really, I could see my aunt, and my aunt looked younger. My aunt looked like she was in her 40s, maybe late 30s, early 40s, and she had a smile on her face. Like I said, one door was closed, and they were standing there. And the example I can kind of give is like if anyone's ever been in a wedding party, and you go to the reception, the wedding party stands outside, and once everyone's organized and what groups who's going to go first, the wedding party's introduced as they walk into the banquet hall. It was just like that, except it was just my aunt, this one woman, and this one man. And so it was just the three of them standing outside that one door while, the party was going on inside, and they were just kind of looking. So I was like, oh my God. I said, this is wild. This is like, they're showing me different stages of it. And I knew at that point she was, in the act of dying. And she was in a coma at this point. So then the next night, and I called my sister, I'm like, you're not going to believe this. She goes, well, if it happens again, let me know. So sure enough, the next night, I have another dream. And this time, I'm looking at the banquet hall, but both doors are shut. And I could just see the light coming through the crease between the two doors. There's no one standing outside. The party's in full motion. I assume that she had gone into the room, presented herself with everyone else, and there was dancing going on, and they said music and balloons and a lot of conversations and laughter, lots of laughter. But I wasn't allowed to see in there because obviously I'm still on this side. Um, they have their privacy, and for whatever reason, I wasn't allowed to actually be part of that. Probably because I'm still on this plane of existence. But it was interesting. I was kind of like looking through the crack between the two doors. I'm like, oh, what's going on in there? But all I could see was the light and the sound and everything else that was going on. So I thought that was so fascinating. And my aunt did pass the next day, actually like 6 o'clock in the morning. So I thought it was really fascinating because to me, it was just a wild story. And I didn't know anything about shared crossings until I started doing some research after it. And I realized it actually is a term and that other people do experience it. So I just wanted to talk about it. This group called Shared Crossing Project, and you can look it up online. It gives you great information about this. It'll give you great stories about it, and people that have gone through it, so that if anyone else has experienced it, they can realize they're not alone. Other people does happen to other people. And so don't be afraid to mention it to other people, because some people will say, oh, you're just making it up or you're going crazy. You're not going crazy. It's happened to other people, and it's a very beautiful thing. It's sacred to be able to share um, in that transition I think it's phenomenal. And when it happened to me, I was blown away to see, and they showed it to me in a way that I would understand, and it makes a lot of sense. To me, it does makes a lot of sense, because we know that they're greeted on the other side by their loved ones, and the fact that the party was going on. Hey, who doesn't like a party? And believe me, they do like the party on the other side. I see it a lot of times when I've done readings, people having cookouts, they're having, these big family get-togethers, long tables. There's like, 20 people at a table. And it's just not, direct family. There are loved ones, there are co-workers, people gotten that, went to work with for their whole life, and cousins and neighbors and anyone else, anyone else that wants to join the party. But they're all there enjoying the company of the person that has passed. Or sometimes, and obviously they're just enjoying each other's company, because they enjoy doing it here when they were alive, so they continue to do it on the other side. Why not? I would. So I'll tell you a couple more stories about some of the parties they have on the other side, and how they interact with us, or interact with you, or someone they leave behind. Because a lot of times people want to know, what are my loved ones doing on the other side? And they're doing a lot of different things. So one of the things they're doing is they're getting together with friends, and they're having a party, or cookouts. I've seen that. So there's a lot of things going on, and it's just a sacred blessing to be able to share that crossing. Now, on another episode, I'm going to talk about a shared crossing with pets. And it happened over 2 nights, and that blew me away too, because, this stuff's crazy. But it happens, other people experiences it, and it makes a lot of sense. So until the next episode, remember to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, so we can get a lot more people watching some of these episodes, and we can get more stories. Please add some comments if you'd like. If you have any questions, go ahead, and I'll try to answer them. So that's it. So have a good one, and be safe.